What's up, everybody? What's up, K-Lizzy? What's up, Lord Scarfy, Yami, Straw Hat, Starfell, yeah, Joe High. What's up, guys? So yeah, I just saw a video somebody made. Actually, it's igneel. You've seen him in the chat before. He's actually a member of my channel. I mean, no, that's just the title. I'm still believe that I'm right, but basically he made a video, quote unquote, debunking my Yami versus Gojo video. So I'm gonna watch his video on stream and go over why I disagree. I actually think that it was not a very good attempt. So I wonder if he'll show up in here and join the chat, because he does watch my stream sometimes. But honestly, like, don't send him any hate. I think he's actually a cool dude. Him and I have actually talked multiple times on Discord. So there's no hate here. But I'm gonna wait a few minutes just to let people get in. Also, Toxic might join me because he thinks it's a good topic. How was I wrong? I'm not. I'm basically gonna be watching somebody debunking my Yami versus Gojo video and then basically debunking their debunk. My wrists are getting better. I had a little bit of a detraction, but yeah, they're okay. I wish I could be playing the Elden Ring DLC right now, Z, sorry. I'm on the Elden, or the final boss of the main story. And I already have beaten Moog, so if I got the DLC, I could play it, but Elden Ring is just not a game I can play with my wrists right now. Oh, he agrees with the speed scaling. His name's Igneel. You guys have probably seen him in the chat. He's not in here right now, at least I don't see him. But he's actually a member of the channel. And I will say, some people are already asking, like, you know, what is wrong, or like Sean says, JJK scaling isn't at the level of Black Clover scaling. It was all hack space that he disagreed with. He actually commented on the video and said that he pretty much agreed with my scaling, like in terms of attack potency and speed. Excuse me, he just thinks that it's more so a hacks thing that why Yami cannot win. But did you know that Summon managed to get Sukuna to 4D? I mean, somebody can get anybody to anywhere. It depends on how well that is. And it's probably based off a few things that I know. And here's the thing, guys. When it comes to power scaling, 4D, in terms of what is actually impressive, is different from what most people think, which I will probably talk about in this video. But I'm just waiting for the stream to maybe like get just a few more minutes in, just so more people are in here. And then just get into the debunk. It's a 19-minute debunk. I'm gonna watch it on like 1.25 times speed. But it'll probably take me an hour to go over. So yeah, that's one of the ways that the inventory curse is 4D. In the data book, it does say it's a 4-dimensional storage space. The issue is that doesn't mean really much. For multiple reasons. Dr. Goon. Oh, yeah, I think I know. If that's a guy I know and I like to watch his videos, I think it's his name, but he changes his name all the time. So that might not be somebody, but I don't know. Like, his name was, I don't know, he's changed his name so many times, but I think I know who you're talking about. But yeah, I like his videos. But, I think it depends on, it's not 4D in the way people argue that what 4D is how I see it, but. Alright, I think I'm going to start the stream now. If you guys see Toxic in the chat trying to tell me to come on, let me know. Jobbers and Goons. Okay, yeah. Jobbers and Goons. Yeah, I definitely watch his videos. I think he's pretty cool. Alright, guys. So, let me know how the audio is. But yeah, again, his name's the Great Igneel Scales. I just call him Igneel. And, oh, you guys can't see it for whatever. It didn't pop up when I clicked it. Oh, I need to get my phone ready to have chat, too. Of course. Never mind. There it goes. First, my phone would not open, but now we good. I'm not wrong about it. Basically what this is I'm going through and watching somebody debunking my Yami versus Gojo video and me debunking them. That's basically what this is all about. Good night, MM. Thanks for coming in. His DC scaling. I remember like he's known for like comic scaling. Okay. Why is it not popping up? All right, there we go. This is the video. There we go. Now just let me know. Oh shit! Hold up. I need to mess with a setting real quick because sound is not going through my headphones. That means it's gonna probably appear twice on the mic. Or for you guys, is what I mean. Is Princey Magic infinite? I mean, it says you can make infinite soldiers, but... And depending on... There's a translation where I think it says she has, like, infinite power or something like that, but... I don't know. Well, it depends on what you mean by infinite. Alright, this should be working now. Yeah, no, yeah, like, this is no hate. I mean, there's one thing that I don't appreciate that he said, but, that's weird. Okay, never mind, there it is. But, let's get into it. Let's see. There we go. Now it's finally... The sound is good. Now I can bring it back up. And let me know if it's too loud or what. I made the thumbnail for my video. Or for my stream.
So in this video, I'm going to be debunking Gojo vs Yami isn't close by Broku, which he concluded that Yami wins more times than not, whereas I think Gojo wins more times than not.
Alright, I'm just going to pause it for a sec. Let me know how the audio is. Because I don't want to get too far into it if it's bad. So let me know how the audio is. Oh, shoot. And we only got a few seconds, but I just want to make sure it sounds okay. Sounds fine. Alright, cool. Now, actually, there's one thing I want to say before I get further, and this is not what Igneel says. He does not accuse me of being biased to Black Clover or anything. But I've seen a lot of JJK fans say that I'm not a JJK fan, or they think that I hate JJK, or they think that I hate Gojo, which is not true. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of my favorite manga of all time. It's in my top 10. And Gojo is one of my favorite characters. I love both of them. In fact, even some of these people will say that I have never done a versus battle where Black Clover has lost to JJK. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because sure, like, the major videos that I've done that have done well, it's always JJK losing. Like, I've done Gojo versus Yami twice. I've done Asta versus Gojo. But I did Gojo versus the Clover Captains, and I had it so that he beat several of the Clover Captains. He beat Gildre, he beat Kaiser, he beat Charlotte. I think he might have beat one more, I can't remember. But I know he beat several captains. Also, I did Sukuna versus every Black Clover villain, and he destroyed a shit ton of Black Clover villains. And I did Asta and Yuno from the beginning of the series versus Toji, and I had Toji win. So I have done a lot of videos where JJK wins. So I want to get that out of the way. But yeah, let's get into it.
And just to mention, this video is purely for entertainment, and not to start a debate with Broku, which I have spoken to him on 7 Deadly Sins related stuff, so no beef, just want to create content. Also, this doesn't make me a Gojo fan or a JJK fan. For those that use that kind of logic, get the fuck out of here. This video ain't for you. And anyways, let's get straight to the video.
So in this scenario, we have Yami. Actually, you know, I'm going to move this fun thing so that it's like clear that this is on my stream, not his video. I don't want to try and make it look like he's doing a fund if he's not or whatever. Okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, Mariona would whoop his ass now. But I knew he had beaten a bunch of captains, like. But that video pissed off so many
versus
Gojo
Gojo. Under standard battle assumptions, characters start usually at their most powerful. This means Gojo is going to have Infinity active and he will beat Sirius. Same thing for Yami. He will have his Black Moon active. I don't think Yami is just going to...
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So Broku says that both of them will start the fights in their strongest versions, but he then proceeds to give Yami the upper hand by letting him start with Black Moon, but didn't let Gojo start with Domain Expansion, which Domain Expansion is the strongest version of Gojo, because he can still use his Limitless technique while the domain is up. So him not doing that shows us that he is being subconsciously biased. Anyway, that's the first...
Okay, so first off, that was actually me misspeaking. Because you will see several times later in the video where I say that Yami's win conditions, or Gojo's win conditions, are... It's when he doesn't use Black Moon. So, like, even though I say in the beginning, that was me misspeaking. I did not mean to say he starts off with Black Moon automatically. Because that's why later in the video I actually say that that's Gojo's win conditions, is the times where Yami doesn't use Black Moon because he's toying with Gojo, or he's, you know, not taking it super seriously. So, yeah, that was me misspeaking, not me being what he says subconsciously biased. But this is the thing that I'm going to point out, that, like, I don't necessarily appreciate it. And also, this is him kind of, like, going back on saying this is subconsciously biased. Because, I don't know if you can you guys see it on the screen? Now you can. This person commented and said, in short, this guy, and this comment is referring to me, is a Yami glazer, and he spouts incorrect info because he wants to make Yami look good. And then igneel responds saying, practically. Which, that is kind of contradicting the whole subconscious bias. Which means he is implying that I have a conscious bias now, and I'm making these videos purposely spreading misinformation. So don't really appreciate that, because that's kind of, you know, back and forth there. But... Just looking at the chat for a sec. You know, an Austin vs. Toji is a members video. It's also a regular video. But anyways, so yeah, it would be more fair to have, if it was Black Moon Yami, that then Gojo would also start in Domain Expansion. But again, that was me misspeaking, as proven by me later saying that the win conditions are when Yami doesn't activate Black Moon, which would contradict that. So, but I can't really dig him for, you know, taking me literally, because I did misspeak. But again, for my perspective on the video, though, that wouldn't matter. Gojo starting a Domain Expansion wouldn't mean anything, because Black Moon would be nullifying it anyways. But yeah, if we are doing a, you know, Black Moon Yami starting out, it would also be Domain Expansion, but that's not what I meant.
Points I wanted to bring up. Now for point 2.
Because inside of Gojo's Infinity, things get slowed down infinitely and they can never reach Gojo. Now Gojo...
And I will say, I don't know if that was just the time I watched his video, but when he plays my parts of the video, it seems to lag. I don't know if that was my internet was bad when I watched it, or if it's like he screen recorded and it's laggy. I don't know. So if it's lagging, it might just be the actual video, not you. So just fair warning.
Gojo also has blue, red, and purple.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's the video is lagging. Maybe he screen recorded, or it didn't like import it very well. But
blue is pull, red is push, and the two of them combined make purple. Now here's why I do not think any of these attacks are a problem for Yami. So for one, the first...
So in this point, he didn't actually explain how the Limitless Curse technique works. He just gave a short summary, but didn't actually go in depth, so I will do that instead. So
yeah, and I explained that in the video that I've already done multiple videos explaining Gojo's abilities. And I even say that, like I've already explained it so many times. And I didn't explain it because his abilities, for one, are not that complex. And most people understand it now. Because, like, in a lot of the other videos I did on Gojo, or he was featured in, I would, like, give, you know, more in-depth explanations of his power and the limits of it. But I didn't think I need to do it for this because for one, it's 2024. Most people can understand his abilities, and I just gave a brief summary of what they do. So, we can get into his explanation. So, like, this is not even him really debunking my video.
So how Gojo's infinity works is the same mathematical concept of convergence and divergence, where he can make any finite distance into an infinite one and beyond by manipulating the formula of the distance or space. Example, if you divide the number 2 by half, then you get number 1. Divide that 1 by half, you get 0.5. Then do that again and again and again, which eventually you will never reach 0 because you can infinitely divide any number, and that's an infinite series or an example of an infinite series. But Gojo can fully manipulate that distance by changing the order around. But the thing is, you get higher levels of infinity, mathematically speaking, which, based on mathematicians that explains the curse technique, Limitless, they pretty much say that due to the distance infinitely converging, this explains the infinitesimal distance is never reached. And then they say of a function that diverges infinitely, this explains the phenomena where a infinite distance continues endlessly, which you can conclude that they mean that you would have to cross an infinite amount of infinite distances, which does make sense as to why Gojo can amplify his neutral Limitless, and why reversed curse technique, red, is 2 times stronger than blue, which blue is negative space that sucks up everything to fill in the negative space, which is possible due to convergence and divergence. And with red, he can condense this infinity that exists everywhere to a point, and unlike blue, this repels everything in a range. And hollow purple is the combination of red and blue to create imaginary space that shouldn't exist but still exists. I also want to add that in the JJK 0,
I will say that it actually says imaginary mass or virtual mass, depending on the translation, which can mean different things. That's why it can be hard to explain hollow purple because the different translations. But yeah.
Movie, which is canon due to many author statements. There is a statement by Miguel that says Gojo's curse technique manipulates space and time, which that makes sense.
Okay, so this is my first major issue with the video, or the debunk, is this statement. This is the only statement in all of Jujutsu Kaisen where it's ever stated that Gojo manipulates space-time. Every single other time it's stated in data books, special grade mathematician, by other characters, by Gojo himself, by Gege when he explains it, it always says just space. And even in the original manga of JJK Volume 0, it just says space. It's only in the movie where it says space-time. And this is kind of a defeater for him in both ways, because his main point goes on to be is that Yami cannot nullify infinity because he's only nullified space, not space-time. And the issue with that is that every other single time Gojo's ability is referred to as spatial manipulation, it's only space. And the only time where it says space-time is in an adaptation. So, yeah, it goes different ways. But him and I have had this discussion before, where space and space-time are the same thing. Like, practically. Like, Gojo, or Yami's Dimension Slash, it's cutting space and time. It's cutting space-time. Because that's what, like, our world is. Like, it's the, like, space and time are intermingled. Like, you can't affect space without affecting space-time. That's just how it works. And basically, he's argued this before. I don't remember how much he gets into this video. But basically, he says that, well, Dante's gravity only warps space because it only says he warps space. But it's like, the difference is, right, is that space often is used synonymously with space-time. And he has to agree with that if he wants to say that Gojo manipulates space-time. Because otherwise, every single other time it's mentioned, It's only as space. But it's the same thing. If you're affecting space, you're affecting space-time. So this is a point that he'll go into for why Yami cannot work on Gojo's abilities, because it's space-time and Yami's only affected space. But it's not a good argument, and it gets even worse as it goes on.
As to why he can teleport and move in time stop, etc. Gojo also has the sixth eyes, which can tell him how techniques works just by looking at it. Anyway, let's get into point 3.
Particular from Black Clover, think of Black Moon like a mixture between simple domain and domain amplification. Yami creates his mana zone, his own spatial territory, and infuses it with his black hole spell. This makes him way faster and stronger, but also nullifies both spells and magical energy itself. Basically, it is power nullification. So it would likely nullify any of these attacks by Gojo. And it does already nullify spatial attacks, as it works on Dante's gravity being the distortion of space-time. It even protects him from the gravitational pull of Dante's...
Hold up, I think that... I'm just checking and see if Toxic messaged me. Oh, sweet, okay. I'm gonna get Toxic up on here. So hold up, a little bit of a... I'm still going to hear just a little bit of a break. So I can bring him here, just get it all set up. But we'll get back to it real quick. I'm just bringing Toxic in here. Damn, well, good luck on your Elden Ring, bro. Rylan, it pretty much is the same thing. And in the context of what I'm saying, it is the same thing.
Yo, Broku, what's up?
Yo, what's up, bro?
Not much, man. How far have y'all gotten so far?
I think 6 minutes.
Okay.
Have you
Any
watched
juicy
it?
stuff in this? Yeah.
Okay. So...
I've been watching the stream for a little bit.
Okay. So first... And can you see the video on Discord?
Yeah, I can see the video.
Sweet.
I heard, apparently he, like, thinks, like, something about, like, the Miguel statement. He takes, like, the movie statement over, like, the multiple statements from the manga that, like, do not say space-time.
Yeah. And so, like, with that, like, he has to believe, if he wants to argue that space-time is more powerful than spatial manipulation, that saying that they're affecting space can mean space-time, like they're used synonymously. Because every other time Gojo's ability is described, it's always only says space. So, and he uses this as debunks for Black Clover, because he says that when gravity only, like when Dante warps gravity and it only affects space, that means that in Black Clover, gravity only affects space, not space-time or whatever. But in order for his argument to work, space has to be synonymous with space-time, which means that them saying that Dante warps space would just mean he warps space-time. And also, the funniest part about this is that he comes in and he says that the mid-time skip anime arc is not canon and it's filler. And he says it doesn't matter if Tabata worked on it or whatever. It's basically, it was an appeal to possibility. Just because Tabata helped with it doesn't mean it's canon. And it's just like...
Dude, is the argument for, like, the movie being canon just Gege saying it was cool?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I would say that there's more evidence that the filler arc or whatever, the canon filler is canon than the movie, is more canon than the manga, because not only is there the statements that Tabata worked with the anime director, but also all the characters and events that happen that are then later actually referenced in the manga. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. Now he's about to get into one of the wildest claims where he says that like gravity only warps space or whatever. It's bad, but let's get into it. Let's get into it now. Oh, and I don't know, did you see the part where I found it, like, where he was basically, in the video, he says, like, I have an unconscious bias or whatever, But then in the comments,
Yeah.
yeah, you saw that shit. That's bad, bro. All right.
Singularity, and even being the distortion of space-time, it even protects him from the gravitational pull of Dante's singularity, and even
So he compares Black Moon to simple domain and domain amplification because Black Moon negs spells and magic, which is valid, but the thing is what he says afterwards, which is gravity being spatial manipulation, which that isn't the case because mass is what bends space and time.
But that's literally what it's doing.
The Google search, bro.
Like, bro, I don't get this argument to say that it's not. Like, gravity is warping space and time, or space-time. And that's what my image showed too.
Again, does he like no offense, does he just like not know what a singularity is? Like
I don't get it. Sure, it's like a different from, I guess you want to say, regular spatial manipulation, but to argue that it's not, it's weird. But let's keep going.
And the attraction between larger mass and smaller mass is what we call gravity. Essentially, the more mass something has, the greater the gravity, and the greater it warps space and time, similar to Dante, who has to use more gravity to warp space and create a singularity, which this means that gravity can affect space in Black Clover if it is strong enough, which also means that gravity manipulation isn't the same as spatial magic or spatial manipulation, which would
it doesn't have to be the same to have similar effects in the crossfirst battles. Like,
also mean that gravity works differently for them compared to our own, because for them gravity only warps space, but for us strong enough gravity can warp space and time.
That's completely wrong. The gravity never in our world never only warps space. It always warps space and time. That's completely wrong. I don't get, I just don't get it. Like, what? Like, it even says mass warps space-time. Mass. Like, bro, we are warping space-time
every time he
right
shows
now.
like a screenshot as like a gotcha moment, it literally just like confirms your point and then debunks his.
Yeah. Like, it's literally saying right there. But also, again, it goes back to, if he's saying that Dante warping space, and it just says space, so it's only space-time, well, then that makes Miguel's statement an outlier, and Gojo only manipulates space. That's you can't have it both ways. It just doesn't work like that. But
yeah.
And it's only ever been stated that Dante's gravity warps space. Now, point 4.
is offensive spatial magic. This type of magic directly erases space. It is stated to be existence erasure in multiple sources, and even the databook states that what Longhorse's magic does is that it scrapes away the universe itself, something that would arguably be more powerful than Hollow Purple. And Yami's much weaker black hole can swallow up that offensive spatial magic like it's nothing. So that would mean that Black Moon is likely nullifying all of these abilities. They're not even going to touch Yami. There is the argument that Gojo has already resisted power nullification when it came to Jogo and Hanami's domain amplification, but I think that one of the big differences here is that Jogo and Hanami were far weaker than Gojo, which is why it didn't fully work. Whereas Sukuna, who's at least relative to Gojo, his amplification worked pretty easily. But Yami's Black Moon still nullifies magic that is resistant to power nullification. For example, in Black Clover, Monoskin grants characters resistance to power nullification. We see this in the Elf arc, when Noelle uses Monoskin to counteract Kavin's compass magic, which nullifies her power. Yet Yami's Black Moon worked on Miraliona, even though she had a Monozone active, and Monozone is just a more advanced, more powerful version of Monoskin. That would mean that Yami's incomplete version of Black Moon has layered power nullification, meaning that Gojo can likely not resist it. This is why...
Yeah, no. That's not how power nullification works. You would have to prove that Yami's power nullification can work properly on space-time or spatial manipulation on the level of Gojo.
So, like, this is the thing, is he claims it's a no-limits fallacy, even though, like, my entire point is showing why it would work, not just, like, I'm not just saying, oh, it's power nullification, so it's gonna work. That's what would be a no-limits fallacy. But he could say I'm wrong, but to say I'm doing a no-limits fallacy is objectively incorrect. What were you gonna say?
Just like the ridiculous shit he says, like, you gotta prove it would work on like the space time of Gojo. It's power null. Fuck do you mean you gotta prove how it works? It literally, like, we've seen power null like work on his abilities, dude. What do you mean we have to prove this?
I think what his point was is we need to see Yami's power null work on space time or whatever. Which again, we already don't need to even like go beyond and say space time because, like Longress's spatial magic cuts through the universe. The universe is a space time continuum, so Longress's magic is cutting through time and space, and Yami can cut that easily. He can absorb that easily with Black Hole, and Black Moon's like even better. So even if you want to go the space time shit, but his own debunk of Longress is probably the worst part of the video, to be honest. But let's keep going.
Goes. Otherwise, you would just be doing a no limits fallacy. And you also did bring up that Gojo has resisted domain amplification, which nullifies curse techniques, due to Gojo amplifying his own curse technique. So who is to say that Gojo can't just amplify his own curse technique against Yami? And also, Sukuna.
So this is a point
because he's weaker.
But this is what I don't get is I literally addressed this point in the video because JJK fans always bring this up. And yo, what's up, Surfbone? Oh, I gotta go check out your tweet then. By sitting on the toilet. Oh man, that's funny. Hope you're doing good, bro. But like my point is that yes, you can argue Gojo has resistance to power nullification, but again, I could like if he's gonna try and pull a no limits fallacy on me, I could do the same thing on him because he's just like basically automatically assuming it's gonna work on Yami, just because it worked on other characters. Whereas in my video, I showed that it worked on space, and it works on people with resistance to power nullification. So like that was like my main point is that Mana Skin gives you resistance to power nullification, and Mana Zone is just an amped, more powerful Mana Skin. And Yami's weaker version of Black Moon could work on Mirliona when she had Mana Zone active, which means that Black Moon is a power nullification that works on characters that are resistant to power nullification. To act like mine was a no limits fallacy, whereas when you're just saying like who's to say that Gojo's it's like that's pretty bad in my opinion.
He like does the accusation he's accusing you of, bro.
But
interesting.
I'll let him finish the power nullification point, and then I think several things to say.
Sukuna's power nullification with domain amplification would just be stronger than Jogo and Hanami, same as how Black Moon's power nullification is stronger than others' power nullification in Black Clover. Also, the whole scraping the universe statement is clearly hyperbolic due to the manga only showing, also the anime, only showing that spatial manipulation only erases matter and not space. And in the Xenos scan you showed, he says that it can erase everything. It literally gets contradicted by the statement that says it couldn't destroy a devil's heart, which means the statement is a hyperbolic one. And also, it can't erase anti-magic, which is also a thing in Black Clover. We also know the inverted spear of heaven forcibly shuts off.
Yeah, what's up?
I just realized, like, okay, like this is like a contradiction. Then, like, couldn't you apply like something similar to Gojo? Like, oh, he has like resistance to power null, but then his infinity literally gets like smacked by domains expansions, like by fodder domain expansions like Jogo.
Yeah, you can. But yeah, Jogo's domain expansion just fucking power null Gojo.
What the fuck?
Jacob, just go watch my original video. You'll see why that point is not correct. Okay, before we get through, like the whole idea of just throwing away the databook statement is garbage, and his reasoning for it is garbage. And no offense to igneel, like you're not garbage, but your argument was garbage. For one, it's just blatantly stated in the manga that it cuts through space. And no, it doesn't just cut matter. And the reason for that is it also works on light magic made of photons. Light and photons are not matter. So no, it doesn't just work on matter. It's cutting through space. It's blatantly stated.
You know what's funny?
I was gonna pull up the chat.
With like the photons, that means it's like affecting like subatomics, and then like if you go off like the actual manga version of JJK0, Miguel says infinity only works on like the atomic level, I believe.
I think he says that in the movie too. But I'm gonna pull the statement where it just blatantly says, excuse me, that it goes through space. It's not just matter. So it says right here, Longress's magic goes or gouges through space itself. And then with the databook statement where it says he carves through the universe. And then also it's not just him cutting through matter if he's cutting through light. And also we see it go against other spatial magic. So like it's obviously not just matter. Like I think that was a pretty goofy argument, but that's a good point, Toxic. You can argue that Gojo is only a atomic level of spatial manipulation, which would be inherently lesser to Longress's. Which I don't think I brought up that point in the video, but I was going to bring it up in this stream. But what was else? What else did he say that I wanted to address? Oh, the idea that it didn't destroy the Devil Heart means it's not, like, that makes the databook statement hyperbolic. Like, that was bad too, because the Devil Heart...
That would be like a verse thing. I don't know what it really contradicts, to be honest.
Yeah, like, the whole point is you cannot destroy the Devil Heart unless if you're Arcane or Saint Stage. And that is, like, the hacks part of it. Like, you cannot destroy it unless if you can purify it or unless if you're on the same level of, like, darkness as it or whatever. If we're going for Prosperous. It wasn't... Like, that's the whole point of Devil Hearts. That is not a defeater. Like, if that was, like, somebody's regular heart, that'd be a better argument. But that's not a defeater to it. So with that point debunked, it working on photons, which does not matter. It working on other forms of spatial powers. Just the multiple statements that it does work on space, like itself, it's not just matter, and the databook statement, but it just completely, like, throw out this point. But you have anything else to add on?
No, I don't really got anything else I could add on, but something I do find interesting is, like, again, using this same logic for Gojo, it's like the space-time statement would once more be, like, hyperbolic if it's like, oh, it manipulates stuff on space-time, but then it's like, he can't even, like, decipher poisons. Like,
oh, yeah,
interesting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like yeah, like, why is Gojo, or why is Longress cutting through the universe? Like, just the fabric of it. He's not destroying, like, the universe as a whole. But why is him cutting through the universe hyperbolic, but Gojo manipulating space-time and all that shit, it's not? Like, it seems a little...
You can't even argue, like, oh, it's like an older Gojo, so maybe, but it's like, Miguel's knowledge would only be off, like, Geto's knowledge, and the last time Geto was really around Gojo was, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if he had made any other points that need to be addressed. Yeah, it's just like he did not meet the burden for it being hyperbolic, and when he's just wrong about it, only working on matter, only working on matter. I think he goes more into power nullification. I can't remember if this is the end of the power nullification point. Because, like, there's a few things I wanted to address about it. Maybe I'll just, if we already passed it, I'll wait at the end of the video, because, I don't know. I guess let's just talk about power nullification for now, and then we'll move on. So, he was basically arguing that it's not, like, a power-based power nullification or whatever, for, like, with domain amplification. Which I actually think there's reason for it being a power-based power nullification, or at least partially.
I think it is just because Sukuna blatantly states it damn near.
Pretty much, yeah. And also, like, if you think about it, domain amplification barely worked on Gojo. Like, it was working, and then the instant he just increased his power of his technique, domain amplification was doing garbage. And then, you think about it, in the Gojo versus Sukuna fight, Sukuna's domain amplification worked basically perfectly fine on Infinity, and Hollow Purple is just two different amplified infinities combined. Because blue is just the amplified infinity, red is the purified infinity with, like, positive energy, and then purple is them combined. So, and Gojo or Sukuna's domain amplification barely works on Hollow Purple, and it's literally the only difference is that it's, like, just adding more power to it, and it gives it different functions or whatever. That's why I think it's, at the very least, partially, like, power-based. But even if it's
I mean, you have like even similar techniques like falling blossom motion, like they
yeah,
get overpowered. Like Naobito's gets overpowered when Dagon just like straight up attacks him, or whenever he focuses more of his like domain's power on Naobito.
yeah,
Like these types of techniques in JJK consistently just partially power based at least.
yeah, and like I think that at the very least it probably has similar domain amplification probably has similar properties to what decides like a domain clash, where Gojo says that the winner of domain clash is it's based off basically three factors: the polished, like how good you are at making domains, curse energy, and then compatibility. Which I'm guessing compatibility probably means like maybe like elemental, like I don't know, like that's a little vague, but I'm assuming that's probably what it is. And I think based off those 3 points, if that's how you would decide domain amplification, I think Yami wins that. His power null would work on Gojo's. Because if we're going off the curse energy disparity, Yami destroys. It's not even close. Because we'd have to say like magic power and curse energy. And Gojo isn't. He's not really like he has a lot of curse energy, but that's not really what he's necessarily known for. It's like his output and his infinity gives him like crazy stamina. And when it comes to compatibility, I think Yami also wins that one because he is actually like manipulating space at a better level than the atomic level, and his domain is like has better power nullification properties. The only thing that I would give Gojo the advantage on, I don't think it's a huge advantage, but it would be like the polish,
The
of
refinement.
domain. Yeah, refinement. Which
Yeah.
Yami's is still good because like have his condense and shit, and he has good control of it. But yeah, I think Gojo's is better because he can like flip the conditions and shit like that. But with the massive power disparity and having like the power nullification property of it, I don't think that Black Moon would really struggle against Gojo. Just especially with like all the times we see like somebody on his level uses domain amplification and it goes through infinity like nothing. I don't remember.
Yeah, the only row like 50 seconds. That was it.
So yeah, I think that in terms of power nullification, my point still stands because not only has Yami's abilities worked on space-time. Also, another point is that dark magic, you can argue, like narratively, is space-time manipulation because the five-headed dragon's dark magic warped and created a portal through space-time. And Yami has dark magic, and he uses gravity powers. Achika has dark magic, she uses gravity-based powers. It seems like a space-time thing is a theme for them. So...
Yeah.
But you have anything else to add?
No, we can continue.
Alright, sweet. Oh shit, I just realized that it's not displaying anymore. There we go.
The curse technique completely, so it would work on anyone in JJK. Also, Black Moon has shown not to work on Dante's body magic and his singularity, which uses more gravity magic.
I will say I'm pretty sure that the body magic, he's not even inside of the actual domain or the monozone when he's actually using body magic.
Yeah.
And like again, like this is like there's different levels of power nullification, and my argument was not that Yami's power nullification works on literally everything. I even say like at one point in the video that it didn't nullify the singularity, but it did resist it. It didn't just do nothing against it. Like, so it's again weird how he like brings up like no limits fallacies, but yeah, I don't think that the body magic, like he was inside of the monozone when he did regenerate, because that was when the monozone was a lot smaller, and when he regenerated right there, he's not even close to Yami. So, yeah.
Anyway, now point 5.
Nullified by different forms of power nullification, whether that be Toji's inverted spear of heaven or the aforementioned domain amplification. But in reality, Yami probably wouldn't even need to get close, as he has Dark Cloak Dimension Slash an ability that is just directly stated to cut space. It would basically be the equivalent of Sukuna's World Slash, which did this to Gojo. And sure, Gojo has reverse curse technique, but it's just going to be the same outcome as to what Sukuna's Slash did. Furthermore, Yami has
World Slash and Dimension Slash are not the same thing, because Dimension Slash can only cut space.
Again, with this whole space, like, he's so fixated on space versus, like, space. They're the same thing. Like, yeah, we'll...
Whereas World Slash can cut existence and the world itself, and since space exists in reality, therefore it will be cut. Example, let's say this piece of paper is where Gojo exists in, and by proxy, the curse technique Limitless. What the World Slash targets is reality, and by extension, existence and space. So when he uses World Slash, his target is the paper that Gojo exists in, rather than Gojo himself, and by extension, he would also cut infinity regardless of the distance or the amount of infinity. As long as it exists in reality, in that world, it can get cut. Whereas Yami just cuts space, which is why Dante's Singularity can warp the Dimension Slash. Not only that, but you have characters that can actually destroy space and...
Yeah, before I get to this point, I want to go back.
Oh,
because I also disagree with that point, but... So, he says it cuts existence. There's different levels of existence, and I guess existence erasure or whatever, and power scaling. And... existence can literally just mean, like, the world, as in, like, because that is, like, our existence is our universe. So if it's just saying that World Slash cut through existence, which is basically what it did, because you would need to have a higher, like, or more actual information to show that's, like, a different level of, you know, existence erasure, then it is the same thing as Dimension Slash. Dimension Slash cutting through dimension, it's cutting through space. It's the same thing. They're both cutting through space-time. They're both cutting through space. He will say later that because Dimension Slash travels, it cannot destroy infinity. But then he's shown multiple times on this video Toji's Inverted Spear of Heaven traveling and destroying infinity.
This doesn't even make sense because we literally even see the World Slash traveling.
Yeah, he says that...
We see Kashimo try to dodge it. We see Maki dodge it.
I know, he's saying
what?
That the one that got Sukuna is one that didn't travel and just spawned on top of him. I think he makes that point.
That's just not true.
But... he gets to a different point that I
Not only that, but you have characters that can actually destroy space and manipulate it as if it is paper. You also have characters that can manipulate reality, and that they can only oppose Gojo and not outright beat him.
Yeah, but... Okay, so this is like saying that...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I just realized, like... Okay, even if it is, like, one that, like, spawned on Gojo, we see one that travels, that attacks and goes through infinity. We see Maharaga's version of it go through infinity.
True. Yeah, Maharaga Slash did travels and it went through infinity. That's true. What was I going to say? Oh, so his point was we have these characters who can manipulate space, but they cannot beat Gojo. That's not an argument for a debunking that Yami's spatial manipulation would work on Gojo. Because all of these characters that he mentioned are way slower and way weaker than Gojo. Like, that'd be like me saying that I can't say that Asta's anti-magic would nullify, or I can't say that Elf Arc Asta's anti-magic would nullify Dante's gravity or whatever, or anything, or it wouldn't do anything to it. Damn, I just lost my train of thought. God damn it. What was I saying?
Sure.
Damn. I think you guys... Did you get what I was saying? Or what I was going for? I just lost my train of thought. God damn it. Well, basically, it's like... It's not a good argument to say that because these characters can bypass infinity, that means that... That doesn't mean anything, because just because you can bypass infinity doesn't mean you can win. Like, technically, like, if Toji fought current Gojo, he's not winning, even though he can bypass infinity. Like, current
Maharaga can, like...
Yeah.
Maharaga literally gets one shot.
Maharaga
That's
actually
crazy.
got beat by Gojo, even though he could bypass infinity. Like, just because these characters cannot be Gojo doesn't mean that, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just a weird point. Let's keep going.
And still, even with these characters that can manipulate reality or space, they are still weaker than Gojo, and Gojo is still the strongest amongst the newer era. Not only that, we see Kenjaku make a massive black hole that will.
This is weird because he didn't make the black hole, but he says it multiple times that Kenjaku made the black hole, even though it was
Okay. Also, here's a really funny thing about this. Like, again, like, you know, like if you like looked into translations for it, like Kenjaku negging this is the same as unironically kind of negging infinity, just because it's made out of imaginary mass, and there's so many translation notes just going over how like the kanji for Yuki and Gojo's shit are literally just the same thing. Like,
oh yeah, I've seen that it's like imaginary mass or virtual mass, like depending on the translator.
I believe so. Yeah. Lightning did it, and then TCB did it as well. Like they're the same kanji.
Yeah.
is gonna destroy the world, which this black hole is a real one based on the statements and how the author knows how black holes work, which I.
Okay, but I mean, Tabata knows how black holes work.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's trying to say that like that the black holes and black clover aren't real, but I mean, if the argument is that Gege knows how black holes work, I mean, Tabata made a manga that was like a physics-based power system, and the main character had gravity and made black holes and shit. But whatever.
Already explained that mass, strong enough, can warp space and time, and Kenjaku can still neg it with his reverse curse technique. So, like, cutting space isn't gonna work on Gojo. And also, before I forget, World Slap.
Even though it does and did. I mean, there's just so many. There's several times where spatial manipulation has worked. Like Sukuna. Domain amplification is actually basically BFRing Gojo's curse technique. Like, a domain amplification is a form of spatial manipulation. It's like a spatial-based power nullification. And that works on Gojo. So, I don't agree with this point. Anything to add?
No.
Can travel, and it can also just spawn out of nowhere, but that depends on how much cursed energy or cursed energy output Sukuna uses, because we only see the difference when he is low on output and when he isn't. You can see there was no travel line here in the scan. Also, if Gojo uses his...
So, there are times where we don't see Dimension Slash's travel time. And there's times that they do. I mean, then for World Slash, there's times that we don't see the travel line, there's times that we do. Does that mean that we can say that Dimension Slash at times doesn't have travel speed, and it just spawns or whatever? Which you can actually make the argument for because of Dimension, or Monozone, but it's just because we don't see travel lines doesn't mean it didn't travel. But whatever.
Dimension Slash, it will be targeting Gojo or space rather than the world or existence. Therefore,
Dimension Slash will only cut the first layers of the infinite points of space surrounding Gojo, because it only cuts space and not infinite space, nor the world, nor does it target Gojo directly, so it won't work perfectly, except Yami can keep slashing for an infinite amount of time. What?
What the hell?
I don't get what that means. The last part.
Yeah, what's the argument?
I mean, I disagree with this point. Yeah, the whole, like, infinite points, like, yeah, I don't agree with it, because, like, Toji didn't have to go through infinite points to destroy it. Domain application have to go through infinite points to destroy it. So,
Maharaga.
yeah.
for it won't bypass through infinity.
So in my opinion, Gojo's only win condition here is domain expansion. Because inverse equalization, Yami's mana would equate to cursed energy, so he would be taken up by the domain's sure hit, which would hit him and fry his brain. I don't think Yami has any inherent resistances to the information of the Limitless. Again, this is a situation where I think Gojo can win if Yami gets too cocky and does not activate his Black Moon. So if Gojo does activate domain expansion and traps him inside of it, that would be a victory. That would just beat Yami. There's just no way around that. But Yami's Black Moon, if activated, is likely going to keep him protected here. If he has it active, then it's going to be like having a simple domain within Gojo's Unlimited Void, which means that the sure hits would get nullified when they try and pass into Yami's own spatial territory. From here, Yami...
So domain expansion is already superior to simple domain, which won't last long in a proper domain as shown.
Well, yeah. So, like, he's right, but basically my point is that monozone is better than simple domain. So it's not just gonna, like...
Yeah, also, I don't think Gojo's, like, a reliable narrator.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, his only basis of this is an open barrier domain. Just
Yeah.
obliterating YouTube domain. And open barriers are stated to be, like, a new level of domain expansion.
Yeah, I mean, Gojo, he is, like, his domain is being stripped, but... Or simple domain is being stripped, but as we talked about earlier, this is Gojo versus Sukuna. These characters are basically equals.
Yeah.
And whereas we talked about earlier, Yami is way stronger, likely has better better compatibility, and then Gojo just has like the better refinement of domains. So
Yeah.
because Yami's, I think I even said in the video that monozone Black Moon is like just a way better simple domain, or I think I even said it's like simple domain combined with domain amplification. I think he even agreed with that earlier. So it's like weird how he agreed that it's like simple domain and domain amplification combined, but then is solely, unless if he, like after this, when I press play, he talks more about domain amplification, but it seems like he's just limiting it to simple domain when monozone is just more powerful than simple domain, and Yami's way more powerful than Gojo. So even if you want to say it's stripping it away, it's going to be way slower than what happened here with Gojo. And he's already agreed in the comments, and the fact that he didn't debunk any of the scaling, that Yami's way faster. So, and in simple domain, don't you kind of have to like stay where you are mostly? Like you don't have a lot of movement in simple domain.
Yeah, if you're like a newbie, like you have to make like a binding where your feet have to stay on the ground.
But Gojo doesn't have that then.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Okay. So, but either way, Yami's gonna be able to move. So, like, and if he agrees with the scaling, like, Yami is so much faster that even if it was stripping as fast as Gojo's here, Yami would be, it wouldn't even matter to him. It would be like, you might not even notice that it's stripping away. Like, I was trying to think of like an example of like, let's say Yami's only 10 times faster than Gojo, which that's a massive, massive low ball. But like, think about it, like you and your friends are running around the track at school, which is 400 meters, and then you sprint, and you get a minute, but then your friend who's 10 times faster you runs that whole lap in 6 seconds. Just think about the difference in speed there. That is huge. That's just a 10 times difference.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think that it's an over 1,000 time difference in my video. So, Yami's Black Moon being broken, or whatever, or slowly fading or eroding, it's not going to be at a pace that's nearly enough to do anything, which I don't even know how much it's going to erode just because it's not just a simple domain. It's basically a simple domain, domain amplification combined, kind of on steroids. But, what
I'm sure we've also like seen cases of like what is it, like domains when they're like the person is really weakened or like so pretty much power based, like they strip away a lot faster. Like Malevolent Shrine, it immediately tears away at Gojo's, right? But then when Sukuna does the Malevolent Shrine in Shinjuku again, like fucking Miwa's simple domain lasts nearly the whole 99 seconds. So it's just like, it low-key might also be like another power thing.
Yeah.
Where like it'll strip away like even slower just because like Gojo's massively inferior, or just like it just might not work at all just because he's massively inferior.
I think it's going to be a similar concept to, like with the power nullification, where it's going to be like refinement and then compatibility and then curse energy or magic power, like disparities. And if we're going off of that, then Yami has the advantage in 2 of those 3, and then like a massive advantage and at least one of them, arguably 2, because like atomic spatial manipulation is just vastly inferior to like regular spatial manipulation. But God, I was gonna say something else. I can't remember now. I think that he might bring it up later. It might be like the domain, the power nullification from domain expansion. Was gonna bring up, because I think he says no. I think he actually says it later. So we'll just keep going. And if not, I'll try and bring it up after.
Domain expansion is already superior to simple domain, which won't last long in a proper domain as shown in the scan. Also, domain expansion has power nullification as well.
There it is.
Also, in a domain battle, the superior domain is the one that is more polished and will...
Not really, because if you read the full scan, it says it also depends on compatibility and cursed energy, which is pretty consistent with how domains work in simple domain and domain amplification.
Also, like another thing is too, this also gets contradicted in the series with Megumi and Dagon. Dagon's is like 100% like more like polished. Like Megumi's is literally incomplete.
Yeah.
And like Dagon, I like overpower him in the clash.
And again, he kind of just limits Black Moon to simple domain, which I think is a massive downplay.
Shown in the scan. Also, domain expansion has power nullification.
So he says domain expansion has power nullification, which was already addressed in the video. That so if we think about it, domain expansion has power nullification, and so I think he implies that like that would work on Yami, but again, Monoskin gives you resistance to power nullification. Monozone, even better, especially in the context of a domain expansion, where now you're making your own spatial territory inside of that domain. And then Black Moon on top of that, which is another layer of power nullification. So it's like, in that context, I don't think that Gojo's Unlimited Void is going to power null Yami. I think that the only way it works on Yami is if he's just, not using Monozone. But I mean, didn't you say... I think I mentioned in the video, but you think that Monoskin could even help Yami against Unlimited Void. I can't remember if that was you.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember talking to you about it, like, when the video first came out, but it's like, I think Monoskin just, like, might low-key just, like, negate it just because we know Power Null, works within this, like, inside domain expansions, with Falling Blossom of Motion, unless you, like, literally concentrate your domain power on them. Like, it just works.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought, like, Monoskin low-key just might save him from the sure hit from even happening.
Yeah. I think you can argue that it might work a bit, because like it says that worked against Sukuna's domain because of his domain type, but then they said it would be mostly useless against Unlimited Void. But if it's mostly useless, that would have to imply that it does something against it. That gives him at least a very minor resistance. And if that does, then Yami's Monoskin, plus with him being way more powerful, it might do. But and sake of fairness, it's probably going to need to be Monozone or Black Moon for domain expansion to be nullified or not work or whatever. But yeah, I don't...
Yeah.
Again, like this... Again, it's almost like another... Like, he pulled no limits fallacy on me, but then is saying that Gojo's power nullification is going to work on Yami, ignoring that I already explained that Yami has, like, layered power nullification resistance in the video. Which... just makes it more like he's the one doing the no limits fallacy.
Qualification as well. Also, in a domain battle, the superior domain is the one that is more polished and will dominate the domain battle. So even though Gojo and Yami would start the fight in Gojo's domain due to standard battle assumptions that you are using, Gojo's domain would instantly destroy Yami's Black Moon, which we know Black Moon...
What the fuck?
Wait, did I hear that right?
Would instantly due to Gojo and Yami would start the fight in Gojo's domain due to standard battle assumptions that you are using. Gojo's domain would instantly destroy Yami's Black Moon, which we know Black Moon can be destroyed based on what Yami says, or is implied that it can be destroyed.
A no limits fallacy? What the fuck? that was just a no limits fallacy. Okay, I didn't even catch that the first time I watched it. What the hell? Like, how is simple domain? Like, simple. He says he's gonna destroy it instantly, but then like a simple domain, like slow, like it erodes away like Not instantly, but not necessarily slowly either. But Black Moon is going to be way better. I don't see how Unlimited Void is instantly destroying Black Moon.
Literally.
What?
What the hell?
And
man?
like just because Black Moon can be destroyed, it doesn't mean that Gojo can destroy it. Like what? Like,
oh, this is beautiful, man.
we have like Black Hole, not even Black Moon. Black Hole, which is so there's Black Hole, then there's Monozone Black Hole, and there's Monozone Black Moon. That's the power levels there. Just Black Hole could effortlessly absorb Longris's offensive spatial magic that erases the universe. It carves through the universe. Which, if we're going by consistency, that's better than anything that Gojo has in terms of like damaging space. How the hell is Gojo's domain doing anything? Doing anything similar to instantly destroying Black Moon? I genuinely don't get it. Oh shit!
No.
Thanks, Straw Hat, for the gifted 10 memberships. I appreciate that, bro. YouTube's telling me to allow gifts so I can get a membership to my own channel. It's not. If you could, yeah, his name's Igneel, or the Great Igneel Scales, I think is his YouTube name. I talked about it at the beginning. It's not like I'm trying to hide who he is. I'm actually, when I post this VOD, I'll tag him in it. He's actually like, he's a cool guy. Like I've talked to him. He's actually a member of the channel too, so it's not like this is hate or anything. But I just think his points are bad. That's all.
Yeah.
But
just friendly disagree.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm genuinely baffled that I didn't catch that the first time he said it. I don't know how. Shh. Damn it, the dog's gonna bark. I don't know how. I don't know. What do you tell me what your thoughts are? I'm just still baffled by it, bro.
I'm baffled by it too, bro. Just instantly destroys it. And
yeah.
what was that point about standard battle assumption? Is he just assuming they're starting in the domain?
Okay, so it basically I misspoke in the beginning of my video, and I said that under standard battle assumption, you use like the strongest version of characters or whatever. And so then I said Yami starts with Black Moon, but I meant to say Monozone. But yeah, because like I did say it, but it's not what I meant. Because like later in the video, I'm like, yeah, well, Gojo can win if Yami doesn't actually if he doesn't activate Monozone because he just wants to, or doesn't activate Black Moon because he wants to like mess around with Gojo or it doesn't see him as a threat. So it's like I meant just Monozone, but he took it. I mean, I did just blatantly say that. But so that's where he's taken is like, okay, well, if Yami starts with Black Moon, then Yami or Gojo starts with Dimensions or goddamn domain expansion. Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's why he's saying that. Which, if I remade it, I might even say that Yami just starts with Monoskin, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that under standard battle assumptions that Yami would start with Black Moon. Though I just misspoke. But yeah, so he's taking it that way, which is fine because I did misspeak. But yeah, no, the shit. Like, I mean, we just went over the point. Like, simple domain gives you some time. And didn't you, yeah, you just brought up that Miwa, her simple domain lasted a while against Sukuna. Mm-hmm. Whereas Yami's is just better stat-wise and better, like, hacks-wise. It's more powerful and more haxed. With more layered power null resistance and power nullification itself. Like, I don't see how it gets destroyed. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't get destroyed at all. Let alone gets destroyed instantly. But we only got 2 minutes left.
Also, Gojo also has other methods that are like domain amplification, but he can also use his curse technique. Now, moving on to point 6-7. My bad.
Actually, I don't think Gojo can. Do we ever see him use domain amplification in his domain? I don't know if we've even seen him use domain amplification at all.
No, we haven't.
Because I feel like that probably would have been better to use rather than simple domain to like survive in Sukuna's domain expansion. I think that he could maybe do it, but maybe he's just not good at it. But he was like Gojo was like shitting his pants that Sukuna could use domain expansion and amplification at the same time. I don't know if Gojo
he's like,
can do that. So I don't think he could actually do that. But
ripping out the universe, I don't think blue is going to work. But even if we want to say that it does, here's why that doesn't matter. This will actually answer two different questions at once.
Just gonna pause it for the super chat. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. Why is it not letting me? Okay, there we go. When I'm at a glazing competition, my opponent is a Gojo and Itachi fanboy. I mean, I don't even know if igneel is a JJK glazer. He's a Seven Deadly Sins guy, but
yeah. And by the name as well, you can tell a fairy tale guy as well.
Seems like it, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Justin. Appreciate that. Somebody asked, are the energies the same? So, for my video, I did two scenarios. One where we used verse equalization, and one where we didn't. I don't know if he addressed both of them. I can't remember. But I guess we'll see.
One would be, why doesn't blue work? And the other is that people try to argue that Gojo will just dodge Dimension Slash because it is slow. The whole idea that Dimension Slash is slow basically stems from the anime. When I say that the anime makes
funny is it keeps, like, the editor is referencing the lag of the video. But it's like, why didn't they just get a new video where it doesn't lag? Because it's obviously, like, it's not in the render.
It's obviously on there.
It's not the render because you can't add in edits after the render. It has to be, like, probably the download file was bad or something, but
Most likely.
Happy Letha? What's that? Okay, Lizzie. But thank you. But yeah, let's get back into it. I'm gonna put it back a little bit.
To work, and the other is that people try to argue that Gojo will just dodge Dimension Slash because it is slow. The whole idea that Dimension Slash is slow basically stems from the anime. When I say that the anime makes Dimension Slash seem slow, it's because of the cinematic timing, and there are a few times in the anime when Yami uses it that it feels...
Come here. Lay down. Lay down. God damn it. Hey. I wonder if
You guys are watching Broku's Conquerors Hockey real quick.
I wonder if her bark can also instantly break Yami's Black Moon.
slow.
Hey. Lay down. Lay down. Hey. What are you growling at?
Maybe she's sensing a hollow purple.
Is she sensing the hollow purple? Goddamn.
So the
It's
cinematic
actually not my dog, guys. I'm dog sitting for my sister, but it's this dog part of the family, so.
timing, and there are a few times in the anime when Yami uses it that it feels slow. But if we go by the same logic, I could just as easily say that Hollow Purple is slow because of how long it took for Gojo to activate it against Hanami. Regardless, Dimension Slash
We
is...
see like the loading bar on the video itself. Did you see
Oh
that?
my god.
Let's let me see if I can pause
Bro, what
it.
the fuck?
how long it took for Gojo to activate it against Hanami.
Bro, there's a loading bar on the... That's kind of funny. Damn, that sucks.
Regardless, Dimension Slash is not slow. When Yami fights alongside Jack the Ripper, the two activate their spells at the same time. Yami activates Dimension Slash.
Oh, actually, that basic heartbeat, you brought up a great point. I forgot to address it earlier. That's another thing, is that Gojo's own Hollow Purple bypasses Infinity, even though he has a resistance to his own power. So it's like another like spatial manipulation that bypasses Infinity. So yeah, good point.
Slash, and Jack does his spell that is literally just him slashing, not some long, drawn-out, pent-up attack. Despite going at the same time, the two of them both launch their spells in the same instant, and not only that, we actually see that Jack is closer to Longris, yet their attacks reach at the same time, meaning that Yami's Dimension Slash actually travels faster than Jack's Slash. Not only is Jack already at least FTL by this point of the series,
So he proved
Oh,
that
wait. It is screen recording
not
my
only
video.
is
Because you
Jack
can see
already
my-
at least FTL by this point of the series,
Bro, yeah, he just...
Oh my
that's why,
God.
because it was a screen recording. So that's why. It was the internet lag screen recording it. So now that's... So I'm wondering, why is it lagging so much? But it's probably just because
Nah,
their
that loading
Wi-Fi
screen,
was
that
bad.
loading bar was funny as hell.
Yeah.
So he proved that Dimension Slash travels, and because of that, it will be affected by Infinity. It will slow down to the
Toji's inverted spear of heaven travels. Gojo's Hollow Purple travels. It doesn't just because it doesn't like it can still hit or bypass Infinity even if it travels. Domain Amplification punches travel. So yeah, it doesn't matter. What do you think, Toxic?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I understand like because most attacks that travel, yes, they're not gonna bypass Infinity. Unless if they have an actual like advantage or power null or hacks that go against it. But I mean Dimension Slash, power nullification based shit, that's gonna work on it.
The point it just stops. He also then used filler episodes which he tried to prove they are canon by showing the statement of the producer saying that he got ideas from the author, which this alone doesn't mean it is canon.
Okay, so again, like get the one statement of space-time for Gojo, it's in the movie adaptation of the JJK Volume 0 manga. So an adaptation. And he can use that, but I can't use what he calls filler, even though it's not. I don't know, that just seems I don't know if he intentionally like is meaning to do this, but it's weird how in the comments, again, somebody says about me in his comments, in short, this guy's a Yami glazer, and he spouts incorrect info because he wants to make Yami look good. And the guy who made this video debunking me says practically. So when you're going around and just taking the one single statement of space-time made in an adaptation of the manga, and that has to be correct, but then with the anime canon where there are multiple statements that Tabata supervised the animation. The director of the anime met with Tabata and the editor of the manga on multiple occasions to make episodes 130 through 157, the episodes between the Elf Saga and the Spade Saga. There are a plethora of things that happen in that later appear in the manga, like Mukasa recruiting Sally for the Magic Research Division so she can make items for the Spade War. And then in the manga, Mukasa appears as a character, and he's in the Magic Research Division, and the actual items that Sally made are there. And she actually used it from research from Asta to make magic-resistant clothes. You have the whole plot of how Longress left the Golden Dawn, how Yuna became the vice captain, how Yuna got his magic stone back. All of those are in the anime and then are shown in the manga too. The anime shows how Yami learns Black Moon and how Asta learns Black Slash. There's so many things that show that it's not filler, or at the very least it's canon filler. But to say that all of that is just not, it's filler, but then take the, like, what does Gege even say about the movie? Like,
I could have sworn it was something like just vague. Like it's just like he respects how they like did it, or he just says it's cool. Like I know he does that for the anime. I forget what it is specifically with Volume Zero's movie, but it's like similar lines where he's just like, I respect what they did. Oh, maybe it's something vague. Like I wish I could have done this in the manga. Like,
I'm gonna go back and look because like I'm not even against the movie like also being canon of Volume 0, but it seems hypocritical logic to accept the Volume 0 movie but not the anime canon arc. I'm trying to go back in the video to where he actually showed Volume 0. Where did he show it?
Manipulate space and time, which that makes sense as to why he can teleport and move in time stop, etc. Gojo,
I mean, just because he can manipulate space, like moving in time stop doesn't mean that his abilities are space-time manipulation.
also has the Six Eyes, which can tell him how techniques works just by looking at it.
Like a Gege
Anyway, let's get into point.
I think it's
There's
a little
a statement by Mago
Oh, there it is.
or Miguel that says Gojo's curse technique manipulates space and time, which
did I miss the Gege statement?
that's in the JJK Zero movie, which is canon due to many.
Wait, so it says The Jujutsu anime, everything is going smoothly, and I'm so impressed with the team. I can't thank them enough. So that statement has nothing to do with the movie being canon.
Oh, then the other statement, yeah, no. Okay, these aren't even for like the movie. These are just for the anime.
That's what I
where
thought.
Gege just says, "Yeah."
Yeah, this is for the anime,
All
not
right,
even the movie.
I was because with the anime, all Gege says is that like he thinks it's cool, or that he's impressed by it, or that like he just watches it weekly.
Interesting.
That
So
doesn't necessarily mean it's canon.
So
It's supported without it being canon.
So Gege is saying that everything is going smoothly and I'm impressed with the team. Canon. Tabata and his editor meeting with the anime director multiple times to make the story of the... Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. Tabata and his editor meeting with the anime director to make the story for episodes 130 through 157 not canon. That just seems to be really weird logic there.
Yeah.
But I mean a lot of the logic I disagree with this in this video, but
Just saying that he got ideas from the author, which this alone doesn't mean it is canon. It's not the same as if the author was
again,
actually...
it's his appeal to possibility, which is a logical fallacy. Basically his argument is that just because Tabata was involved doesn't mean it's canon. He's appealing to the possibility of it not being the case. Like, for example, if a gas station gets robbed and they have a video of the robbery and the robber just says, oh, well, what if they edited the video to put me on there? The robber is appealing to possibility. Incredibly unlikely that the gas station edited the robber into it. So that's basically the logic there. It's appeal to possibility, which is a logical fallacy.
They're helping the production of those episodes. It's like if I ask a friend for some ideas on how I should edit one of my videos. That's not the same if my friend and I are editing the video together. Not only that, but the full episodes are...
I don't think that's I don't know. Do you think that's a good analogy?
I think so.
I don't know if it is. What did he say exactly?
Episodes. It's like if I ask a friend for some ideas on how I should edit one of my videos. That's not the same if my friend and I are editing the video together. Not only that, but the full episodes are still considered filler, not canon to the main manga.
No source for that.
Wait.
So I don't...
So like, before we go into the analogy, he just says they're
should edit one of my videos.
Filler.
That's not the same if my friend and I are editing the video together. Not only that, but the full episodes are still considered filler, not canon to the main manga. So I don't agree with him using these...
Literally no source or anything. There's no statement that says that they're filler, except for if you go to unassociated like websites where they classify it as filler, which those are not official. So like I don't know why he's saying they're still classified as filler when nothing actually says that. What were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say something. My bad. And as for the analogy, he says, just because my friend gives me advice on how to edit the video, that's different from me working together to make the video. I don't think the analogy fits because Tabata and the editor got together with the director of the anime to make the story together. Like, he's not just giving advice. Like, they worked together to make the story, as shown when many of the events from the anime canon appear in the manga. And Tabata also did character designs for it, so it's not like he was just way away from the anime. But like, I understand people think that the anime is not canon, at least those episodes, but I don't think it's a good argument. And honestly, like I said earlier, and I think that we've kind of shown it now, there's more evidence that those episodes are canon to Black Clover than Volume 0 movie being canon to JJK. At least on the evidence he provided.
Yeah.
But
episodes where Yami cuts Glamour World as a feat. Also, I put the whole thing about Glamour World being infinite in size into question in my Merlin versus Lucius video, So you should go check that out. Anyway,
Yeah, I know what his argument is, and I disagree. His argument for why he thinks Glamour World is not infinite is basically just he doesn't think that Reeve knows what the magic does. Because she's using Dorothy's magic. Even though it's stated that the elves are using this is the magic they had like 500 years ago. Like I don't see how that's a good argument for, like, it's basically a knowledge claim he's putting on Reeve. But I mean, I don't even think that Glamour World scaling is even needed for this debate, but I just put it in there for the whole point of, like, people saying that infinity is an infinite space around Gojo. But I don't think that's a valid knowledge claim, because, like, this is her ability she's using. She's had this magic before. So, I mean, she literally just created it. So, what do you think, Toxic?
I disagree with it.
With him or me?
You.
Interesting.
Stop. Love you, stop.
Alright, I think there's only 20 seconds left.
that's all of the problems I had with the Yami versus Gojo video. Tell me what you guys think on this topic and what I said, if you think it's valid. And that will be it. Peace, I'm out of here.
Yeah. I mean, again, no hate to Igneel. He's a cool dude. I just, as I went over with you guys, as Toxic and I went over with you guys, a lot of his points don't add up.